Nigel Farage gave a speech yesterday about what he calls Lawless Britain, warning that Britain is facing societal collapse, promising a return to strapping bobbies on the beat.
Wow. Honestly, I can't believe in this day and age that someone's saying something like that. If you look at the world at the moment and that whole concept of how might is right and where it's got us and the terrible state that, you know, everywhere from Ukraine to Gaza and Israel, you know, I mean, I just can't believe that someone's sitting there saying that, yeah, what we need is, like, big macho guys walking down the street flexing their power. You know, I do think that there's absolutely a point about policing and the fact that the police need to have a degree of respect and, I suppose, a bit of fear of consequences, which seems to be dissipated these days. But the idea that women police officers can't do the job, I mean, it's just so insulting, so 19... I can't believe that. I mean...
Well, to even put that out there is a thing, because it's just putting out that same kind of, like, encouraging people to jump on that bandwagon to say, oh, women can't be great police officers. I think it's really... For me, the worry of that is that it's going to encourage people who find intimidation through physicality, those who want to be intimidating and use their body and feel like that's the way to kind of contain and control people. So you're going to get the wrong people applying for that job.
But what they're saying is it is the way to control people.
But I actually don't think... I think it's good to have a healthy respect and, in some ways, a healthy fear of the police. But I don't think it's about that they don't fear the police themselves. I think it's that they know the law 9 times out of 10 is on their side and the police can do nothing. I mean,
well, that's what I mean about consequences.
But this is, again, politicians not actually facing the problem and just giving a nice big juicy bone for people to chew on, you know. So we're here sitting talking about whether it should be women or not, which is clearly just a ridiculous thing. And the disregard and disrespect to female police officers, I think, is an absolute disgrace. If you're putting yourself forward as you know, a government that's really going to sort out policing and law, don't disregard them like that, because I think actually you put them in more danger.
You do. Yeah.
And I tell you what, once we had a burglar in the house, we knew they were in the house. We'd come in through one door and the front door was locked. We called the police. Honestly, they come so quickly if they think somebody's in there. And this female police officer, she leapt out of the car. She was high-kicking this door. Honestly, I had a crush on her afterwards. I was like, wow.
But also
in the movies, and the men were standing watching her. She was full
to
power.
play devil's advocate a little bit, I get it, though, sometimes, from what I've seen on telly or, you know, when I watch all these, you know, reality kind of police shows and all of that, and you've got, you know, it's a Saturday night and you've got a whole drunken mob of guys or whatever. I have watched it and thought, she looks so vulnerable going in there, like a...
That's not just what policing is about. I mean, obviously, that's an instance in which policing is involved, but policing is about so much more than that, I think. And the idea that, you know, I mean, how much money has been spent on trying to eradicate the levels of misogynism that let people like Wayne Couzens get away with what they got away with?
I don't think Nigel Farage would be worried about misogyny.
But the problem is now Nigel Farage is talking about, oh, what we need is we need more machismo, we need more of that sort of misogynistic swagger,
and I think that give them more authority.
That's totally irresponsible, as I think his last and sadly very successful campaign around Brexit was also very irresponsible. But that's another story. You know, I sometimes wish that there was a way of kind of not giving a small political party as much oxygen as that until they have to prove that the policies they're coming out with actually have the potential to be put into place.
They feed off the fear.
Well, can I just say...
Feed off the fear. They feed off the fear and the division, and that's what they use to be able to put these things out there. But I definitely agree with Nadia. It possibly can put more female police officers at risk.
Yes.
Because you're saying that they're not equipped and they're not capable, and it's terrible.
Well, 69% of our audience are agreeing and said we should have a fear of the police. We should be scared of them. 69%.
We should be scared of the law.
We're not scared of the law.
I agree with Judy. I think there's a really, you know, I think there's a really important distinction there. We should, or not scared of the law, we should respect the law and respect the police, and respect the police for putting into play the law, but not fear them because they could knock us out.
Yeah, and if they are going to recruit new ones, can they look like the French police officers do?
The Italians quite.
Yeah.
Or do you think that's just familiarity?
Judy for Prime Minister for me. Anyway, a bit more bad news now. The government have launched a review into whether plans to raise the state pension age to 68 by the mid-2040s should be accelerated or even extended, meaning some would have to wait to 74 to draw theirs.
Crazy.
Research has found that 45% of working-age adults are saving nothing at all into a pension. Why, Judy, do you think that is?
Because people can't afford it. They haven't got any spare money to save. Look at what the times, you know what I mean? That let's be realistic. Like, you know, and the average wages over here, people are really struggling.
And the cost of living just keeps going up.
Going up. And, you know, we don't know people's different circumstances, what they have to carry. But I just, sometimes, this whole retirement thing just feels like a scam to me. You know, we're going to wait until we're 67, 74, and that's when we're supposed to live our best life. Like, you've worked all your years, you've done your 9 to 5, you've been educated, you might have bought a house, and then by the time you get to actually have time to yourself...
And enjoy
you're
it.
Tired as hell. You haven't got that much money. You're probably babysitting all your grandchildren.
But when you were younger...
How are you supposed to live? Like, we can't... I don't feel like we have to wait. We shouldn't wait until that retirement age to enjoy our life. Enjoy your life from now. That's what I think.
I think that's some money. But did you ever think, when you were younger, about saving for a pension? Do you think it's something that young people think about?
Two guesses, Colleen.
No.
I'm not a thinking the future person, but I did grow up just around... I'm still working on it. In a family where pensions were very... There was a lot of mistrust around pensions. And I grew up with those parents who were saying, whatever you do, don't get pension. I think something dreadful must have happened with them or a friend or something with the pension. So it was just never in my head. My dad always said to me, you know, make sure you're always a freelancer, always be free, always be self-employed, always be... So I just grew up like that. And he said, you know, if you've ever got any spare cash... I mean, I never have, so I've never bought another place, but he said that would be where to put it because it's rock solid. And I wonder if a lot of young people, you know, who aren't paying, they're worried more and more, aren't they, about younger people not paying into the pension, is because there is that mistrust. And actually, I don't know that much about pensions. I'm not that well informed. I've just gone, no, I don't trust it. Whereas I thought, if you could pay a bit more into the state pension, so you've got a good state pension, and then you could pay more in when you were able to, like, I could really trust it, and it's not going to, if the banks collapse, I'm not going to get it.
Yeah, I just think
that's what worries me.
I mean, there's another disparity there, like what you were saying, if you could just pay more into the state pension at the times when you felt you had extra money and so on, which I think is actually a really good idea. But one of the problems, I think one of the groups of people, or the group of people paying less into pensions is women, and I think one of the reasons for that is that there's always been a disparity between women's pensions and men's.
Can I just read that out? This is going to really
it's like
rile
40%, isn't it?
It says women face a
less.
significant gender pension gap, with the average woman approaching retirement today expected to receive just over £100 a week, compared to £200 a week for a man.
It's something like 48%.
But that's like our whole lives.
Yeah,
it's not just a pension.
The reason for that is because women have a curvier career path, and you have times, you know, because the expectation of child rearing and caring and everything is dumped on women's shoulders. So by the end of the day, you end up with this lower pension pot. So how do you entice women to pay in? Well, I think you have to make it more equal. You have to not have a pay gap, and you have to not have an enormous, almost 50% pension gap.
And
Wouldn't it be great if we started with our actual wages being the same as men? Because it's just carrying through into life, isn't it? I mean, the pay gap is there all the way through.
Right, I'm going to ask you lot. Do any of you want to work till you're 74?
No. But I don't know, I never want to retire.
No, you don't want to retire, but you don't want to...
You don't have a choice.
But if you did want to, if you get to an age where you think, I do want to.
It's about choice.